This is very similar to the Nord Stream pipeline. The U.S. either involved or advising Russia blowing up a dam that is incredibly helpful to Russia, useful to Russia, and flooding their own areas. So here is someone basically putting this question to John Kirby, the national security spokesperson. And he has just a super answer.
Does it seem believable?
I hope you can hear her.
Does it seem believable to you that Russia would destroy a dam and flood ethnic Russian villages and cut off the water supply to Crimea? I mean, that doesn't seem logical. It seems about as logical as blowing up one's own pipeline, doesn't it?
We've come to no conclusions on this. We're working with the Ukrainians. We'll try to get as much information as we can.
She asked him, does it sound reasonable to you that Russia would blow up a dam, flood culturally Russian people that are under Russian control, and damage the infrastructure, possibly cutting off the power and water to Crimea, which is in Russian hands? And she says, that sounds as reasonable as blowing up their own pipeline. And he's like, we'll get back to you on that. Can I get your email? I'll send you an email on that when we've looked into it. Of course, the U.S. knew exactly what happened and either was involved or at minimum advised on what happened with the dam. And Ukraine actually has a history of blowing up their own infrastructure during this war in order to flood areas that would be useful to be flooded to slow down Russia. So this is from New York Times, believe it or not. New York Times even covered this. They flooded their own village and kept the Russians at bay. This is from back over a year ago. And it also shows the horrors of what goes on in these places, these flooded towns, that the Ukrainians felt by flooding this town, it would make the advancement of Russia more difficult. And so they went ahead and did it. And it seems to be the same with this latest dam that was blown up, is that it's useful in harming Russians. So they went ahead and did it. Now, if you wanted to, you could make the argument, well, they're being invaded and you got to make tough choices. So they blew up the dam. Okay. But that's not what we're being told. We're being told that Russia decided to blow up their own. It's not their own dam. It's in Ukraine, but it's flooding culturally Russian areas, and it's cutting off water to Crimea, which is in Russian hands. But so this is even the New York Times willing to cover this a year ago, which it's funny how in this latest dam explosion, dam sabotage, we are not being reminded of this by the mainstream media, that this has been done before by the Ukrainians. So, I don't think we have to get involved in every play-by-play of this war. I do think that as they say, the first victim of war is the truth, and that's absolutely true with this one. But so I only get involved in kind of the bigger stories, and when I think that there is a really large level of propaganda going on around these things. So this is very similar to the Nord Stream pipeline. The U.S. either involved or advising Ukraine on how and what to sabotage, to blow up, and then running around and saying, well, clearly Russia did it. Clearly Russia blew up their own infrastructure, which is laughable. And even the New York Times covered this a year ago.